When Larry Culp came in, there were a lot of issues. I know Mr. Flannery tried to address these too. There were a lot of issues that kind of no one knew about. And they led to having to have $75 billion in debt offloaded. They led to this this kind of combination of power and renewables that was supposed to be doing really well. David and I reporting on it endlessly that it wasn't doing well. So was there an alternative? Was there anything that Mr. Culp could do to keep this company together?
Well, I found it kind of interesting. I sent the announcement to my youngest son, who started a business in Atlanta, sent it to him and said, hey, just a heads up. And he sent back a note saying, yeah, I remember you said 2 or 3 years ago that this was going to happen. And I sent back a note saying, well, I appreciate you remembering that. And I just felt at the time that the cultural cohesion, the kind of operational focus, the performance versus the S&P 500, which I think is an important dynamic for any company, especially for any kind of conglomerate. All that was missing. And when you get to that point, the best thing to do is get it stable enough so that you can just split it up and let the companies begin anew. Now, you got to find the right leadership. It's not, everybody thinks it's simple. You just break up. There's great people just hanging around that you plug into jobs and then they take off and do a wonderful job of it. It's not that simple, but it's the likely better alternative.
David, I'll get back to, it's David Faber. I'll get back to Vertiv for a moment, and your perspective on supply chain, labor issues, it's my understanding, I know you guys have a very large backlog, but that there may be labor issues that are delaying the building of data centers. What are you seeing?
Well, there's all kinds of supply chain issues out there now. For us, a lot of it was connected to the semiconductor issue as we tried to get component parts, and that's what has caused us to be unable to ship. But at the same time, what we're starting to see are data centers that are going to be unable to be completed because there's no construction labor. At the same time, you're dealing with aggressive inflation. Most of us as business leaders have been saying for months, this is not transitory. This is not a 2 months issue. You're going to be dealing with this for a while. You're starting to see it in the labor market. And I find it astounding that our political solution to this economic fire we have right now is to pour gasoline on it, as my good friend Pam Langone was saying on your show just a couple of weeks ago.
Well, Dave, look, I think you've got that great perspective. It's obvious that Vertiv is a real company, whether it has supply chain problems or not, fully disclosed, by the way, in the last quarter presentation. I want to thank you, and I want to recommend people to read Winning Now, Winning Later, How Companies Can Succeed in the Short Term While Investing for the Long Term. David Cody, that book correctly summarizes what you did at Honeywell, but what they didn't do at GE. Thank you for coming.
Well, it's very nice of you to say, and I can promise you it's what we're doing at Vertiv. And the guys would tell you it actually works.